So here's a little bit more than diving into the Capitol. So most theater histories place the Capitol's origin as a dance hall. They also called it a theatorium, which is a fun mix, back in 1906. So the name seems to combine theater and auditorium, which is pretty fun. And certainly this place at George and Philadelphia Streets hosted a variety of events. One of the first ones is back in Christmas of 1907, 20 years before the Appells, by the way. The owner was R.L. Jackson. He wrote a letter to the newspaper promoting the Passion Play as its amusement parlor, which I think is fun.
I'd like the verbiage of that.
Amusement parlor. We talked about renaming our living room to, would you like to go watch movies at our amusement parlor tonight?
Oh, I would like to come to movie night at the amusement parlor.
He asked that churches would spread the word, and by 1908, the Theatorium welcomed this county-wide fraternal assembly of odd fellows to a moving picture, which was a product in its infancy at the time. Brand new industry of the idea of moving pictures.
That would have been really cool to be there when you're going from, like slideshows, static, to moving pictures, and then they add noise and they're talking, and
it's amazing. We think about the transformation of AI now.
What a time to be alive.
Right?
I know, they were probably just as freaked out. So that year, the venue was enlarged again. So a cigar store in the adjoining Bacon building closed. Jackson knocked out the wall, and an arch connected the first floors of the two buildings. A newspaper reported about the Jackson at the time. This will be one of the largest moving picture places in part of the state. In this part of the state. So at the time, that was putting New York on the map. And this gives an indication of how small venues not built for motion pictures were retrofitted to accommodate audiences with this new art form.
And bring more and more people out. And we really weren't alone here in the city. There were theaters that are popping up all over the county. There's a band hall in Glen Rock. It was led by this internationally known parade march composer, Roland F. Seitz. Today, unfortunately, it's closed. It's called the Glen Theater, as you guys know. In Stewartstown, there was the Ramsey Theater, and this became the first theater in small-town York County to be built specifically for movies, and that was back in 1920. If you remember going to one of these theaters, it'd be great if you posted a comment below. We'd love to hear your memories.
Yeah, I love when people share their stories in the comment section and it sparks discussion. So the Jackson would evolve as motion pictures grew in popularity. The commercial success of the film industry meant that more and more people wanted to spend time and a few cents at the theater. So in 1917, a balcony became a particularly innovative feature for the Jackson. It was built with a cantilever design, meaning that no view blocking support poles would be needed.
That would have freaked me out.
That would have definitely freaked me out. I don't like heights, and I don't want to feel like I'm suspended, but that's just me. And a newspaper says 4 rail cars of steel made this design possible, a structural detail new to York. So that does make me feel better that it's all totally steel and safe, but yeah, it's still freaky.
That would have been really cool to think about the repurposing of rail cars that were now for a movie theater.
Right.
Like how and all the steel that must have seen back in the day, all the places that it went. So the result was this 1,000 capacity theater. And we're talking about the Capitol. Yeah. But the Capitol only seats half that now, less than half of that. But in the day, it seated over 1,000 people. This was the largest in the city and one of the finest in this part in the entire state. It'd be used for motion pictures only, though. So no vaudeville, burlesque, or other entertainment shows. So just movies.
Yeah.
The promise of motion pictures continued to grow, that by 1926, the newly renamed Capitol, which is now under the Appell ownership in the 1920s, went through major renovations. The facade was renovated to its familiar appearance that it is today, and the 1,000-seat interior was outfitted in furnishings, appointments, and beauty, according to a newspaper at the time.
Very fancy.
I wonder what appointment means. Furnishing, appointments, and beauty.
Appointments is like the accessories and like the gilding and that kind of stuff.
Appointment. So like when you come into my house and I have stained glass in my window, is that an appointment?
Yes, it is.
Okay, fun. I love that you know that.
Yeah. Unless there's an interior designer in the comments that says I'm wrong, I'm going to go with that answer.
I believe you.
So this was also when the Wurlitzer pipe organ was installed to accompany the silent movies. And to top this off, Douglas Fairbanks, the Black Pirate, was shown, a pioneering Technicolor film. So we've got talkies, we've got the pipe organ, we've got Technicolor. We're really advancing here. Interestingly, the Capitol Theater opened in August August 1926, about a year before the first talkie, The Jazz Singer, debuted across America in 1927. And the Capitol would soon incorporate that new technology. So they really were at the forefront of the technology for the time.
Absolutely.
Little old York.
People liked our movies and
They
TV.
Mm-hmm.
So the Capitol is going to benefit from a number of different renovations. Specifically, we're going to go into the 1980s and then again 20 years later and then into the 2000s and 2010s. It received its very own measure of care, and like I said, in the 2010s with its first known large-scale upgrade since the 1920s. So this was 90 years in the waiting, so it was about time. They included a digital projector, which was formerly used at the West Shore Theatre in New Cumberland, which we're not too far from.
That's where I saw my very first movie.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how old you were?
Oh gosh, I was like 3 or 4.
Oh, wow. You remember that?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Sorry about we're in a working fire hall, so if you hear something, maybe we'll talk a little bit louder, but thank you for bearing with us with the audio.
At least it's not a fire call. If they have to take the fire truck out of here, that's just, maybe we'll film that instead.
We'll just start recording. We'll see if they allow us back if we ever do that. So in addition to the digital projector, the balcony was also taken apart to the supports and put together with an improved rake or slope for better visibility.
So the original 1920s architecture remained in place throughout the theater. The project of about $2 million kept the historic feel amid modern renovations. So it costs a lot of money to keep a place looking older, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So a goal was to increase the number of events from 125 each year to 200. Combine that with the Strand's busy calendar, and the community truly has a regional entertainment hub. The renovation kept the two theaters on comparable timelines with the restoration.
And if you follow what today the Appell Center is doing, there always seems to be a show on Friday nights and Saturday nights and throughout the week. I mean,
constantly.
They are always having new performances. A lot of famous people come to York, so kudos to the Appell Center for staying relevant.
Absolutely.
So here's a really fun story about a guy named John Andrews. So he arrived to the Strand Theatre on a really early Thursday morning in late August of 1925. He had a newspaper in hand, a magazine, a lunchbox, and a soapbox. And it was 7 a.m. And the reason why he was there is he showed up 12 hours in advance of opening night of the brand new North George Street Theater and Silent Movie House. And his goal was to get a free season pass for a year as the first ever patron then to purchase a Strand ticket that year.
See, people think people only do that stuff today, like they'll wait outside the brand new Sheetz or Dunkin' Donuts when it opens.
Hundreds of years.
They were doing that in 1925. So his soapbox was just for sitting. He wasn't standing on it and making any proclamations, but his presence in York on the sidewalk for half a day to gain that free pass was akin to him standing on the soapbox to proclaim that this new movie place is a monument to a city that is shaking off a decade of challenges and looking into the future. John Andrews received that season pass, and he covered that he so coveted on that day in August 1925, and he did so despite the efforts of another youth,
Aww.
Harry Ryan. So he had competition, who arrived somewhat breathless 15 minutes after Andrews and had sat down on his soapbox. Disappointed but still rewarded, Ryan received a 3-month pass as the next best reward what the Strand had to offer, and the Strand then and now would not disappoint. So I think that's really cool. So he didn't get there in time. He was 15 minutes late, but he got his 3-month pass.
Do you think the Strand did that on purpose and had the 3-month pass and backup, or do you think they felt bad for him?
I hope either way. But they were probably like, you snooze, you lose, kid.
So the Strand took the opportunity in those days to state its mission in a large newspaper advertisement, leading with, and you can see it there, "Our true intent is all for your delight." And then those words, those mission appeared years later. If you go into the Capitol Theater today, you will be able to see it. It is etched into the mirror of the newly renovated concession stand. So when you walk into the Capitol Theater and you see that bar there and you can purchase things, you'll see "Our true intent is all for your delight" inscribed in the mirror.
We could do a scavenger hunt where we
That'd be
point
fun.
out all of the cool 1920s.
York history.
You hear that? You hear that, Appell Center? I'm giving you ideas. The hometown history scavenger hunt. So we always end with our takeaway.